Hello everyone and welcome to the AOR F1 2013 Season 7 Championship. It's the Japanese Grand Prix, it's round 12 and we are going around the Suzuka circuit today. I'm Matthew Gallagher and joining me in the commentary box, it's not my normal co-commentator Scott Woodwist, it's my other partner in crime, it's Fisi Fan.
Yes, hello everyone. I am happy to be back in the commentary booth with you once again because Scott unfortunately couldn't make it this week, and I'm pretty sure we're in for a very interesting race here at the classic Suzuka circuit. 18 turns and 27 laps await the drivers around this circuit that has crowned many world champions in the past, and it could crown one today here in the AOR as well. If Noble scores 17 or more points, more than Limitless in this race, he will indeed be crowned the championship winner for Season 7. And I'm sure we'll have a very interesting race, Matt, so yeah.
Yeah, Suzuka has given us many a great race in the past, and I'm sure it will not be any different here this afternoon. The Season 6 podium was Noble taking the victory from TRL Limitless in second and xMattyG in third. That is actually the current order of the championship at the moment as well, with the Season 6 pole also going to Noble with a 131 flat. Let's see what happened in qualifying.
Welcome to the qualifying comparison here for the Japanese Grand Prix. The Williams pairing of Noble 2909 and xMattyG on screen for you today as they start the lap by carrying tremendous speed into turn 1 and then using the engine braking as effectively as they can to get the car into the second apex before heading into the S's section of the track. Grabbing 5th gear just before flicking left and then down to 4th for the right and next left as well, always focusing on a late apex to open up the next corner through this section of track. And now going uphill through the left, just about managing 100% throttle as it now opens up as we head towards the second sector. The first of the Degners up now, and it's Matty carrying far greater corner speed through here, and also now down into Degner 2, easy to have a lock up but both drivers managing it no problem, and now into the tight left hand hairpin of turn 11. Get the car slowed down in a straight line, and then easy to spin up the rears on the exit as the drivers just pass over a little crest in the track as they look to plant the power, but Noble and Matty managing the throttle application pretty well. And now the run down to Spoon Curve, a double apex left-hander, so the drivers staying to the right on the circuit on the approach, and then chucking it in 4th gear, use all the track mid-corner to open up the second phase of the corner, get the nose hooked into the racing line on the inside, watch the back end as the track drops away down the hill on the exit, and it's Matty ahead at this stage of the lap by around a car length or so. Heading towards the final sector now, and ahead is the fantastic 130R corner, easily flat as you feed the car left, then get back over to the left for the braking zone of the final chicane, braking at the 100 metre board, and the back end of Matty's car looking very unstable and under traction on the exit, especially Noble gaining massive time, which allows him to come out on top in this comparison by 0.2 of a second, and they'll line up 4th and 5th for the race. Back to your main commentators now for the full qualifying classifications.
Thank you very much, Harry Jacks, for that qualifying comparison. Here we have the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix of Season 7. And it's a brand new pole sitter for this race. In only his 4th outing in the AOR F1 League, TRL Rosberg in the Ferrari takes pole position with a 131.0 pole time. Almost 0.3 of a second ahead of second place TRL Limitless in Torosso, also looking strong. In 3rd place we got TRL Martin completing a great qualifying for the Ferrari team ahead of the championship leader Noble 2909 in the first Williams. And in row 4 the second Torosso driver TRL Mincy and the Norwegian Fisi 91 in the Red Bull. In row 5 we got SE Racing Team in the Caterham and AOR X Callum in the Force India. And then the Czech driver Mazy CZ in the Sauber propping up the drivers that set a timed lap in qualifying. TraceMe92 and Jason97 F1 both failed to set a competitive time and will start in 12th and 13th place respectively. And then Randy McSgrandy in the McLaren, who looked pretty strong in qualifying but at the end of the session accidentally pressed the button to quit the race, and he could not join back into the lobby for the time of the start of the race, so he will not be on the grid unfortunately. And then one non-starter today with the Continents not able to take part. So there is a very competitive looking grid. Let's hope that the race will be just as close.
It's race time. It's the Japanese Grand Prix. It's xMattyG and FisiFan91 commentating for you today with another no % chance of rain race. So it's all down to the drivers with no changeable conditions. Fisi, Noble was heading towards that title. Will he take it today?
He could well take it today, but he's got a tough challenge with 3 quick-looking TRL boys in front of him on the grid, and quite a few drivers looking strong. So it'll certainly be an interesting race, and the lights are coming on in the second map.
Here they come now. We have 2 lights. Now we have 3. The TRL boys are revving up. Now it's the final light. And the lights are out. And away we go for the round Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix. TRL Limitless getting a brilliant start on Rosberg already down towards turn 1. Will he take the lead? It looks like he is down into turn 1. And Rosberg's slightly being pushed wide there. And I think he's lost a few more positions. Now on board with Matty, who's right behind Rosberg. Rosberg down into 4th position. Noble up into 3rd, with Ricky also overtaking the Williams driver of xMattyG. We're now on board with the Caterham driver SE Racing Team in 8th position. Puts it down into standard mixers. Callum is running very wide through this long right-hander, and he's gone into the gravel. So he is going to go down into last place, I am sure. And now Matty is now looking to the outside down towards the Degners. This is not an overtaking spot, to say the least. And Ricky maintains 5th position. SE now going up the inside of TRL Minty, which he does so brilliantly, pushing Minty wide slightly, and Fisi then taking another position as well and up into 8th position. Matty now looking around the outside of Ricky into the hairpin. Will he make it stick? No, he won't, but he's going to get slightly better traction out of the hairpin, and he's now on the inside using all of his curves, and then retakes 5th position. So there's quite a few cars overtaking each other on this first lap, but the main talking point is that Limitless has taken the lead, which is exactly what he needs to do to keep this his championship hopes alive. With Noble 7, he has to outscore Limitless by 17 points this afternoon, and he's behind him at the moment, isn't he, Fizzy?
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's got TRL Martin in between them as well, who is looking strong, obviously qualifying ahead of Noble as well. And now we got SE Racing Team coming off the inside of Ricky, and there's been a bit of contact going into the chicane at the end of the first lap, with SE just locking up, well, braking a bit too late, and going into Ricky. And now Noble is having a go for that 2nd place on the inside of TRL Martin coming into turn 1. But Martin has got a better top speed, it looks like, and he's braking very late, gone slightly onto the curb, but it looks like he's maintaining the position of Noble. That's side by side again, coming towards turn 2 now. But Noble backs out of it quite wisely there, because that's not really a place you want to go side by side, and he remains behind TRL Martin. So good battling there, and now we're going to get some replays off the start. Here is TRL Limitless getting a brilliant launch off the line to get into the lead already. Actually, already before the first corner, just easy up the inside of TRL Rosberg. And then you can see here, TRL Rosberg, I think he got a little bit on the curb. Maybe there was a slight tap from Martin as well. It was a bit difficult to see, but Rosberg lost out and fell all the way down to 4th place, as you can see here, with Matty also being pushed a bit wide actually, and losing out to RickeeyC on the first corner. And here's the view from Fisi 91. Is generally quite clean through the first corner, no major contact, but Fisi gets mugged off around the outside by SE Racing Team, who got a good start. You can see his view of the first corner here, just keeping a nice and tidy line on the outside and out-tractioning Fisi on the exit there. And here's the great opportunistic move from SE into the 2nd Degna when he took Minty. Arguably left him a little bit too little room there, but Minty got on the curb and Fisi took advantage to gain a position. And now a great move by Matty to take advantage of Ricky's slow exit out of the hairpin, just using up all of his curves to secure that 5th place, and very action-packed match in the first lap.
Yeah, that was a crucial move by Matty there, as he lost a position off the start. As SE goes into the gravel there, but he's just about managed to keep it on the track. Mazy has also locked up into the Degna too, and that means Jason is then going to take 10th place away from him, and that's single points paying position. But it was a very important move from Matty to get back into that position that he qualified in, because the top 4 are very quick indeed and are going to get away if he does not put in some fast lap times to catch up to the pack. We're now on board with Fizzy in the Red Bull. He's being put under pressure from Minty, who's down in 9th at the moment, had a very poor start to the race. He's going to go straight up the inside at Spoon and up into 8th position. A great move from Minty. Fizzy looked like he's struggling slightly with turning, and ran wide and just gave the room to Minty. And here we go, here's Matty. He's caught up to the pack already and right behind Rosberg as we're about to come towards the last chicane of the lap. And we're now on board with his teammate Noble, who's in 3rd position and keeping Limitless and Martin well within his sights. And he's actually saved some of his curves out of the final corner, and he's going to get a great run on Martin. He's not going to have DRS, DRS, but just purely through the extra curves and then using some curves down the straight has gone up into second place, and now there's only one man standing in the way of him taking another victory, and that is Limitless at the moment, who has set the fastest lap of the race for 1:36.1. Mazy now looking up the inside of Jason and retaking that 10th position after that mistake, and it's very crucial for Mazy as he is within the relegation battle, I believe, and every point is crucial for him. As we're now back on board with Noble again, he is nowhere near the relegation battle. He is way out in front in the championship fight, and the only person that can stop him now is Limitless, and he is the guy in the lead at the moment as he goes purple at the start of lap 3, and he's just over a second behind Limitless at the moment, so he's not within DRS, but I'm sure by the end of this lap, if he continues to push, he will be, as it becomes active this lap. And RickeeyC now in 6th place. Matty running slightly wide through the hairpin, and Ricky gaining quite a bit of time on the Williams driver and keeping well within the DRS range. And now we cut on board with the Red Bull driver, Fisi Fan 91. Who's probably going to be looking to try and get back past Minty after that very opportunistic move into Spoon, as we're now coming out of Spoon with Noble, and I'm pretty sure that is less than a second now between him and Limitless, and it is also less than a second between Ricky and Matty, so these guys aren't stretching out yet, well, purely because it was quite incident free the first couple of laps, so there hasn't really been anything like Monza where cars were able to get away. And it looks like as SC going very late on the brakes and slightly touching Ricky, and Noble diving into the pits now for his first pit stop already, and SC losing the back end and so nearly going into the pit wall. I'm not sure if he wanted to go into the pits or not, but he had to get out of it just so that he didn't hit the pit wall there, Fizzy, as Limitless is going right from the lead.
It's all kicking off there. Limitless just run wide as Noble's in the pit. You can see in the top right there, but Limitless has lost the advantage he had from being out in front, and now dropped back into the clutches of both TRL Rosberg and TRL Martin by running wide on the first corner. Here is Noble coming out of the pit lane with loads of fresh air ahead of him, likewise with Fisi. And they're going to be pushing on now on the fresh tyres, trying to get the undercut on these guys, the top 4. Very close, top 5 actually, with Ricky having a go on Matty now, coming into Degness. Looks like the Ferrari boys are scrapping for second, as well as Matty's run a little bit wide onto the curb. Ricky can't quite find the gap to go through though, and he has to settle in behind. It's very close. You can see the top 7, I think, there, separated by only a couple of seconds really, as the TRL Martin is that, just run wide, and Matty's going to try to take advantage, but Martin looked to have gotten his car straightened out and got a good exit, but Matty again out of the hairpin using all of his curves to get a position, and is now up to 3rd place. A great opportunistic driving there from Matt again, as the Limitless and Rosberg now looks to have pulled a slight gap there because of Martin's mistake. And SE now under pressure from TRL Minty behind, as he's sliding a bit out of the Spoon curve there, and TRL Minty now looks like he's gonna pull alongside, coming towards 130R. Is this going to be an overtaking move into 130R? They're going side by side through the corner, leaving room there. Well done by SC. The side by side still going into the chicane. SC brakes late, slightly cuts the corner. There's been contact ahead as well with Ricky and the Ferrari driver Martin there. And there's a few people going into the pits now. Loads of action there at the end of that lap. TRL Rosberg there in the pits, and Matty and Ricky and a couple of guys at the back as well. Loads of pit stop happening at the end of lap 5. Limitless with actually always been held up by a second or so in the pit lane. He's been jumped, Limitless has, by TRL Rosberg in the pit lane, and Noble passes them both by doing the undercut. Just worked out brilliantly for Noble, hasn't it, Matt?
Yes, it has. I mean, with Limitless's mistake into turn 1, he has got probably a 3-second lead now as Noble after having the undercut, and then also combining that with Limitless's mistake. So this has become perfect for Noble. Once again, he is out in the lead, and he is just going to have to push. But it looks like with Noble pitting a lap earlier than everybody else, he may well be trying a different strategy here today. It'll be very interesting to see what he does. As well, towards the end of his stint, he will be slower if he decides to stretch these tyres after doing the undercut. So we may well see the cars come back towards Noble, but this is the mistake that Limitless made. A very crucial error, losing him a couple of seconds at least and putting Rosberg right on the back of him. And then after making that mistake, he then lost a position to Rosberg in the pits, and Martin looks like he made exactly the same mistake as Limitless, but maybe not as bad. And here's Ricky going to the outside of Martin into the chicane, and does he make it stick? It looks like he does, as they're about to pit. Ricky just making the chicane and then not having to give the position back. So a great move from Ricky despite having very worn tyres indeed. And this is the the side-by-side action between SE and Minty. Great driving there. SE slightly cutting the corner, but I mean, with the tyres that he had on him, I'm not surprised at all that he couldn't slow the car down as much as that. So yeah, action-packed, and everybody coming into the pits, and this is a replay of Mazy up into 9th position after pitting. And this is now Limitless behind Rosberg. He's going to have to get past Rosberg as quickly as possible if he wants to set about catching Noble. But then Rosberg is pretty quick, so let's see what Limitless tries. He's got DRS, and he's going to use some of his curves. He's in fast fuel mixture as well. He's going down towards turn 1. He's going to go side by side into turn 1. Can he make it stick? He cuts the corner slightly, actually making the move on Rosberg, which I'm surprised the game... Well, I'm not actually surprised that the game hasn't picked that up, because it doesn't pick much up. But yeah, that was very interesting, and we'll see if Rosberg has anything to say about that, because Limitless definitely put 4 wheels on the grass/curb, which is not deemed the track. And yeah, we might have something to say about that later on in the race. But now Mazy and Jason are still fighting 6 laps into the race. These guys cannot, well, Jason cannot pull away from Mazy, and Mazy can't pull away from Jason. So those two are very close indeed on the track. And we're now back on board with Limitless, who's up into 2nd place. And now Fisi, who's having a strong race at the moment, 1.4 seconds behind the Williams driver of Matty. And that's Matty looking up into the hairpin and almost hitting Rosberg by the looks of things. Very lucky from Rosberg and Matty not to make any collision there or contact. So yeah, very close indeed from Fisi's point of view at least. We may well get a replay later on. But Fisi, as I said, is having a very strong race, is, well, as I say, only a couple of seconds behind the front runners, and Ricky going slightly wide, and it looks like he's lost a position to Fisi in the pits possibly, or maybe just coming out of it, as SE is now all over the back of him and will have DRS on the main straight. It's going to be crucial to see if Ricky will have DRS on Fisi, and because that may well be the deciding factor as to whether Ricky loses 6th position or not. But SE looking like he's got some decent pace as well in that Caterham, and coming through the final chicane now. He's right behind the McLaren, practically in his gearbox. And we're going to see now, does Ricky have DRS on Fisi? It looks like he does with that acceleration that he's got there. So SE is going to have to settle for 7th place as Limitless sets the fastest lap of a 35.1. But Fisi, it looked like Limitless's mistake was pretty crucial for his fight for the win at the moment.
Yeah, certainly has proved to be absolutely crucial, with Noble having a few seconds of a gap out in front, as we now see Mazy and Jason battling it out over the final points paying position, battling over 10th place. Jason winning that at the moment, and you got to say it's been a very competitive race so far. Obviously Noble has a bit of a gap at the moment due to getting the undercut in the pit stops, but when you look behind him, all the drivers down to around 9th place are separated by something like 5 seconds or so. So loads of drivers looking very strong. But even if you're looking strong, you could be at the you could find yourself in 9th place and not get many points. So just shows the competitive field around this track. As although you got to say, Fisi is it looking like he's dropping back a little bit from the 3 cars in front of him, the train of Matty, Martin, and Rosberg out ahead. As he's now starting to hold a bit of a train behind him, led. Well, the chase is led by Ricky, who's having well, he's having a slipstream up towards 130R, but he's not close enough to pull any kind of move. Maybe he can have a go into the chicane, but I think he'll stay behind and wait for the DRS to come around on the straight that we're coming up to now. So he'll try to get on the power as early as possible, and he has a little bit of oversteer going over the bump there. But he has DRS that should be able to pass Fisi, as Fisi goes slightly defensive, but leaves a gap on the inside, and Ricky takes it. Quite an easy DRS pass, but then he runs onto the curb. He looks for a second like he was going to lose the car there, but he managed to keep control of it. And now we got Mazy passing Jason for that 10th place, and with DRS again into turn 1. So as he puts a wheel on the curb there and holds it well. So Fisi now he's not been in this kind of position too often this season, fighting with the likes of Ricky and close with Matty. Oh, as Rosberg is that, who's had a half spin on the curb, and now Minty is pressuring SE going into the hairpin. He's got great speed going in there, but as he's defending the inside line, they're side by side, and SE has got the better exit from being slightly ahead when they turn into the corner, and used curves as well in the exit. So yeah, just incredibly competitive race at the moment, as Rosberg has lost touch as well a bit with Matty and Limitless in front now.
Yeah, surprising to see Rosberg actually lose quite a bit of time purely down to mistakes by the looks of things off Matty and well, I think it's Martin, but or maybe it's Limitless, sorry. But yeah, SE now on board with in 7th place. Looks like he's got quite a bit of pace, but the person behind him, Minty, looks like he's got even more pace. Going to look maybe to the outside into the chicane, but no, he couldn't. Well, it's not really an overtaking move there, as it's very, very close between these drivers. They're all within DRS range of each other, which means they're pretty much just in a massive train and can't get the moves done, especially down this straight, as they're all topping out at around 200 miles an hour. SE Racing Team with 199, as we now have Mazy coming under pressure from Jason once again at the start of lap 9. Is Jason going to go up the inside into turn 1? No, he's not. He's thought better of it, and having to settle back behind Mazy in 11th place. But these two are really fighting for 1 point and 1 point only at the moment, as they are nowhere near the train ahead. The person that is in the train is SE in 7th place in the caterer, but he's still under pressure from Minty coming through Spoon and now out of it. He's not had a great exit by the looks of things, but Minty hasn't either, but he's got no curse left as SE to defend. And here comes Minty in the slipstream. Will he make it stick before the 130R? Yes, he will. He should be able to get back onto the racing line, but he makes sure that SE has enough space so that there is no contact, and Minty is up into 7th place, which is more like where he should be aiming for, as he's got quite a bit of pace. SE cutting the corner slightly and hitting the bollard, and Martin now coming through, and I'm not sure how Martin's ended up down in 8th position, but
actually he was higher up, yeah, because I said before, I got to correct myself, because I said before he was in the top 4 battle, but he, oh god, as Ricky makes a mistake there, and Fisi retakes 5th. But yeah, I think Martin had some troubles during the pit stop phase actually, because I think he stayed out 1 lap longer than everyone, and that's probably why he lost out, and he's now at the back of this massive train. Well, S is behind him still, but yeah.
Right, okay, so Martin has 1 lap fresher tyres than most people, 2 laps fresher than Noble, as far as I'm aware. So that means Martin, although he's at the back of the field, or not at the back of the field, back of the train, as Fissi's got contact from Minty, it looks like, and straight into the gravel. Minty carries on, but I've just heard in my ear that Minty did not actually have Fissi's car on his screen, so Minty just taking the corner normally, not having any cars in front of him on his point of view, whereas Fisi has Minty right behind him and has just been completely punted off at Degner 2 and straight into the gravel, and that is Fisi, well, that's the end of Fisi's hopes for a really strong result here by the look of things, as he's completely out of touch of the train that was ahead, and he's down in 9th place now. So that is very disappointing for him, as Noble going very close and into the wall, and his end plate, and there was a car there, but oh my god, Noble almost losing his wheel on the wall there, but Noble just about managing to get away with it. But on his very worn tyres, will he be able to manage another lap? He's going to have to if he's going to make his strategy work. But I'm just hearing in my ear again the ghost car of FizzyFan91 on his screen, just in the middle of the track coming towards 130R, and Noble's thought he's going to hit the car, so he's trying to take a void in action, but the Red Bull hasn't actually moved, whereas obviously this is where Fizzy actually is on on his screen. But that was so close. Here we go again. Noble taking to the left because he thought the Red Bull was going to come across the track, which is the sort of what the ghost cars do. But in fact, it just stayed there. So Noble almost drove straight into the car. And that could be crucial, as he has now lost his end plate, which is going to give him so much understeer. And combining that with some, oh gosh, as his teammates now running wide as well, combining that with his tyre wear means that he could come under pressure from Limitless, as Rosberg now takes 3rd position away from Matty, as Matty now makes a mistake as well. So he is down into 4th position, as these drivers are struggling very much on these worn prime tyres. And it looks like they're going to have to do another 2 stints on these prime tyres to get to the end of the race, as Fizzy comes out of the pits and on some fresh prime tyres to try and get an undercut on the cars ahead after that little escapade into the gravel. But here we go. This is Limitless right behind Noble already, so this is it. The lead has gone from 3 seconds down to 0 after that sort of the ghost car causing Noble to go into the wall. So now Limitless looking like he has got the upper hand, as he has 1 lap fresher tyres. Noble looks like he is trying to go an extra lap on these tyres and get back onto the same strategy as the drivers behind him. And it looks like he's struggling quite a lot, and so is Mazy, straight into the gravel. It looks like he just got away from Jason and now straight into the gravel and gives that position to Jason. So action-packed action galore all the way up and down the field, Fizzy, as we now have Limitless going round the outside of Noble into 130R. Can he make it stick? Yes, he does. He now has the inside.
What a move that was.
Chicane. What a brilliant move, but Noble's now outbroken him into the chicane.
Oh my god.
And he's retaken the lead, and are they going to both dive into the pits? It looks like Noble is, but Limitless carries on, Fizzy.
Yeah, oh my god, there's no chance to stop talking, is it? As Ricky comes into the pits as well, but Noble has gone for the undercut again, pitting one lap earlier, seemingly, than Limitless, but he was certainly struggling, most likely with that end plate not being on his wing. So now he's had a longer pit stop and compared to usual, because he's had to do that front wing change, so that kind of negates the undercut advantage that he would have gotten by pitting earlier. And I think that was a Ferrari that actually had gotten ahead of Noble. I couldn't actually see that. No, I don't think it was actually. But yeah, it's just so much going on. And now we got Mazy in the pits as well, and Fisi has also been in the pits. So it'll be interesting to see now where Limitless will be compared to Noble when Limitless most likely has his pit stop at the end of this lap. So and yeah, I think Fisi obviously did his undercut on everyone, because I think he sensed that his only opportunity to regain some time on that massive chain he was in before he got hit into the gravel is to try and get the undercut, but I'm not sure if it will work, but he's keeping his fuel enriched at the moment to just do his best to get some cars in front of him again. But yeah, it's a shame though to see this ghost car glitch kicking in, to be honest, to the effect that it has, because it's now obviously ruined Fisi's race and certainly affected Noble's chance of the win as well. But luckily that should be fixed for the races coming after this, because Codemasters have released a patch after this race took place, so that's at least good news that we shouldn't be having that any further in future races. But now we got loads of cars in the pits. We got Limitless and Matty and a Ferrari driver as well, and SE. So Limitless needs a good stop now to try to get ahead of Noble, and he has a good stop, unlike the previous time. But this Matty is the one who's get held up in the pit box due to SE coming into his box. And Noble, here they go, there's Limitless coming out of the pit lane. Noble goes ahead and is retaking the lead despite having changed his front wing. In the pit stop, he has had a great outlap to take back that lead just ahead of Limitless, and Ricky has also jumped Matty actually. Matty has lost quite a bit of time as well to Ricky by staying out a lap longer. And Fizz is not too far behind either, and he's just set the fastest lap, so he's certainly pushing to just make up the time he lost earlier. And but at least now Limitless should be within the 1 second zone, so I think he at least has got more chance of holding on to Noble now, Matty, compared to what he had before that ghost car incident.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that Noble actually has stayed ahead of Limitless despite having a front wing change as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how Noble deals with Limitless behind him on those 1 lap fresher tyres, which we have seen in the past races. That it is so crucial to have that advantage over your competitors, which Limitless does over Noble. And I wouldn't be surprised if Limitless is going to be all over Noble in the next few laps as the tyre wear starts to kick in for Noble. And Limitless will have slightly fresher tyres, and he's in the DRS zone already coming into turn 1 and 2. And he is right in the gearbox of that Williams driver, so Noble is going to have to deal with the pressure, and this is Fizzy having Martin come out of the pits, and he's going to have to settle it just behind the Ferrari driver, and he's just got ahead of Minty, but he's lost the car, and I don't know what's happened there. But
he's let him through there. I think that because Minty, obviously early in the race, he got hit off by Minty when Minty couldn't see him on his screen, and apparently still couldn't at this point in the race, so he's just taken being careful by not having Minty behind him, because that incident would most likely have happened again if Minty had stayed behind Fisi. So Fisi just taking the safe route there, as you can take us through Limitless having a go at Noble.
That's probably a good idea from Fizzy, just to basically avoid any future collisions in this race, as Limitless is still all over the back of Noble but can't make a move stick just yet. Fizzy in 8th position after backing off and letting Minty through is 1.3 seconds behind the person that can't see him on his screen, and this is a replay of Fizzy losing the back end through the final chicane, and we now have Limitless all over the back of Noble once again. He's got no curves at the moment to use, but he's put it up into Rich, so he may well try it into turn 1, but he's down into standard again, so he's not going to try it, as Noble had brilliant traction out of the final chicane, and Noble maintains the lead at the moment, but I'm sure that Limitless is going to just apply even more pressure towards the end as Matty sets the fastest lap of a 34 flat. He's not having a particularly great race at the moment, but he is now starting to put the laps in with 11 laps to go, with slightly fresher tyres as well, fresher tyres than Ricky at least, and he is now going to try and retake that 4th position. He can see the front 3, which are probably about a couple of seconds ahead of the McLaren driver, and he is going to have to start putting in some laps now if he wants to join that and make a four-way horse, I suppose. Let's put it in a Ryan quote, for the victory. I'm sorry, it's the only thing that comes into my head, to be honest. When there's more than 2
Ryan
people
still
battling.
has an affection on us.
He does, he really does. So Matty's going to have to start to put in some laps as he slides into the hairpin slightly. Despite having fresh tyres, they're still not maybe completely up to temperature, as we're now on board with the Caterham driver SE Racing Team in 9th position, not really setting the world on fire after having some reasonable pace at the start of the race. And he's behind Fisi after Fisi's mishap into the gravel, so not great from him. But we now have Limitless again. He's going to try it on with Noble. He's left about maybe a quarter of his curves, possibly for the exit of the chicane. But look at the slipstream he's got coming through 130R. Is he going to try and around the outside into the chicane? They're side by side, but Noble just breaking slightly later than Limitless, but Limitless is going to have a slightly better line out of the chicane, and here we go. He's going to have a little bit more curves. He's going to put it up into Rich. Surely this is where Limitless retakes the lead and up into 1st place. Trace gets out of the way and gets lapped, and here we go. Limitless fighting Noble down in towards turn 1. They're side by side. Who is going to come out on top? Limitless has got the inside line. Noble has to give in because he just purely can't keep the car ahead of Limitless, who has extra grip, as Minty sets the fastest lap. But Limitless takes the lead and has a real chance of winning this race, as he has fresher tyres and should surely have more pace than Noble at this stage of the race. So it's up to Noble to try and stay within DRS range of Limitless to keep him in a chance for to win this race, as we now have a replay of Matty going straight past Ricky, using all of his curves down towards 130R, making the move stick before the corner, and is up into 4th position. And there's another replay of another overtake, I'm assuming, of SE getting past Fisi for 8th place. This is where Fisi is struggling, as he did the undercut and his tyres are in a lot worse condition than the drivers around him, so he's just going to have to deal with that. As we now cut back to the live footage of Fisi still in 9th position, losing touch with SE already with his tyres. He's got 10 laps to go, so he's really going to have to push these tyres a couple more laps if he really wants to not be struggling from lap 25 onwards. He may well even lose 3-4 seconds a lap if he pits this early. So here we go. Ricky, that we're now on board with, is coming under pressure from Martin. Martin coming through the field at a right rate of knots as Ricky cuts the corner slightly again. He's going to have to watch that, as Martin is now all over the back of him again. Will Ricky get DRS on Matty? Because this may well be the deciding factor. He does, so Martin shouldn't get through him into turn 1. So Martin looking very strong indeed round this track, with the better strategy after pitting a lap later. He looks like he's got through the cars quite well, as you can see on the mini-map actually. There's 2 kind of mini trains. I'm guessing it's the train for the lead, and then a train for sort of, I'm guessing 6th to about, no, sorry, it must be about 5th to 8th or 7th. So it's going to be interesting, and it might actually form one massive train by the end of the race, as Ricky locks up and almost goes into the gravel, and now Martin going to the outside towards the hairpin now, and he's already taken the position and takes 5th place. So Martin looking very strong, Fizzy.
Yes, certainly is looking strong, as a bit of contact there with Ricky and Martin, but they've got away with it unscathed there. And I mean, Martin, he was looking very strong having started the race. I think he started, was it in 3rd, but then obviously dropped back. But now he's on his way back through, and if he puts in some great laps now, he has fresher tyres than the cars ahead of him, I think. So he could well put in some great laps and try to get up to that pack fighting for the win. But now we got a double slipstream train with TRL Minty closing in on RickeeyC as well. Oh, as he slides over that curb and gets a bad exit chicane, so Minty could have a go at him now with DRS, but obviously Ricky will have DRS on Martin as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Minty doesn't look like he's closing, coming towards turn 1, and it's the positions remaining as they were. But Minty very close at the back of RickeeyC still, so I think he's obviously on fresher tyres than Ricky as well, so he'll be really frustrated well, in being held up behind Ricky, because ideally Minty would like to get past and keep up with Martin, because it looks like he has the pace to do so. Oh my god, that's a massive lock off of Limitless. Oh, and Noble goes through. Limitless is really struggling to control the car of the gravel trap, and he's lost 3 positions down to 4th place just by such a simple mistake. With Matty and Rosberg also taking positions on him as Fisi tries to replicate it there. But that is another crucial mistake from Limitless. We saw him run wide earlier in the race. Now he's done it again, and you know, those 2 mistakes combined could really be the things that take away his chance of winning this race. Because that's not, you know, if you want to win a race in this league, you really can't make those kind of mistakes too often. And Limitless has lost out badly here, as finally now I think Minty will take that place on Ricky, but he has lost loads of time to Martin, and is now out of DRS range of him. So he'll be quite frustrated, but obviously Ricky doing nothing wrong by defending and trying to keep his position. So 1 stop to go for all these drivers, and Rosberg carries on, but Noble goes into the pit lane. While Matty obviously has to carry on because he's also driving the Williams. But this time Limitless, crucially actually, chooses to not stay out longer than Noble and goes in on the same lap. So Noble will not be getting the undercut on Limitless this time. And both... No! Limitless has been held up in the pit lane! Someone must have gone through, and it's TRL Martin actually, who has jumped Limitless in the pit lane. So Martin gained another position, this time through the pit stops. But now again, you got to say that the advantage in this race is back to Noble due to Limitless' mistake, and especially as he's now getting the undercut again on Rosberg and Matty, who were the other cars that were close to him. So again, a Noble in the driving seat, but he's far from over, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, this is the replay of Limitless throwing away the victory, possibly. I don't know, he just locked up into Degner 2 and just could not slow the car down at all. And there goes Matty and Rosberg past him as well. So it's definitely advantage Noble at the moment. And this is his teammate Matty, who looks like he's going to be coming into the pits this lap. And looks like he's very struggling quite a lot on those prime tyres. They must be very worn indeed, as Rosberg comes into the pits as well. So these guys will have fresher tyres than Limitless and Noble. So it's going to be interesting to see how far they are behind as Noble and Limitless cross the line, because I'm sure they're going to probably gain a couple of seconds at least with the undercut. So will Matty get hold up? No, he won't, unlike Limitless, who's had not great luck around Suzuka today, as he's been held up twice in the pit lane, I think, and he's made 2 very crucial errors. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have won this race by a few seconds, I'm sure. But Limitless is now ahead of Matty after using that undercut, but Matty is still within striking distance, and Martin up into 4th position at the moment, with a few drivers still to pit, I'm assuming, or maybe 1 driver. But yeah, that's amazing, because Martin was down in 9th at one point, so those fresher tyres have really put him back into play. And he's, well, looking at the victory possibly if they can catch Noble out in front. And Limitless is just all over the back of Martin, and his teammate Rosberg is just ahead as well. So Limitless is a man on a mission at the moment to try and salvage something amazing from this Grand Prix after some very crucial mistakes. Matty is right behind as well in the Williams, so there could be a four-way train to try and catch Noble, who is out in front, which is going to be fascinating to see with 6 laps to go. And Limitless is going to, I don't know if Limitless is going to try and dispatch of his 2 TRL compatriots. He's going to go past Martin into Spoon, and he's done it. Up into 4th position. Martin making a slight mistake, and Limitless taking advantage of that and up into 4th already. So Matty had to just sit back and watch and couldn't take advantage, as Noble goes to the inside again of the ghost car and losing a slight bit of time, this time not hitting the wall and losing an end plate. Crucially for him, as he is now caught up to the back of SE, who I'm assuming is trying to push his strategy onto options for the end, as Noble now takes the lead for the final time. Well, for him, hopefully he's going to stay in the lead for the next 5 laps, but it's down to the drivers behind him to try and catch him, and it looks like they are actually catching him at quite a rate of knots after that. Well, not mistake, but having to avoid that ghost car, as Limitless sets the fastest lap of a 1:33.2. He is absolutely flying, and he is going to try and get this victory. It's not going to be his maiden one, as he got it at Spa, but Limitless wants another one here at Suzuka to try and keep his championship hopes alive, as we're now on board with SE having, as I say, a not particularly stellar afternoon in 9th position, and Fisi in 8th, still not having a great afternoon after, well, he's actually lost touch with the cars ahead, especially Ricky having basically a not very good strategy after having to pit early. So Who's your money on then, Fisi? I mean, there's what, that 5 cars that could be in a chance with the victory today?
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to predict with these cars being so close together. But obviously Noble is in the driving seat. All he has to do is to be able to defend from these cars, and you know, it's easier to defend than to attack most of the time. But if the likes of Rosberg and Limitless get right on his back coming out of that final chicane, there's not much Noble can do to defend from the DRS. So it's up to Rosberg and Limitless to do anything about Noble getting the win here. As Matty is having a massive go on TRL Martin coming into the chicane. Oh, can't quite get a turn in because Martin was in the way, and now he's sliding a bit around on the exit. So I think Martin has got 4th place still covered for now. And just to point out, earlier we saw that SE was pushing his strategy and then went out on the option tires for the final stint, but he lost out a position to Fisi because he had actually passed Fisi on the previous stint. But now Matt has made a crucial error by sliding on the curb out of turn 1. And that has put him out of touching distance with Martin, and that could be crucial because he will no longer have DRS if he can't close that gap before the start of the next lap. And now he's got TRL Minty right at the back of him as well. So Matty could well have made, well, that error could well have been the error that made Matt fall out of that train for the win. So that's you know, disappointing for him. But we'll see if he'll be able to fight back. But again, that Red Bull of Fis 91 is haunting 130R Noble screen. Obviously, it's not actually Fisi doing that, but it certainly is putting Noble off. And Rosberg is only a second behind. I think he actually, despite his saying 1.1 second, I think Rosberg might have had a DRS on Noble there because it looked like it was closing slightly on the straight. But Matt is not really closing on Martin too well, and is really under pressure from TRL Minty, who I believe, I'm not actually sure now if he has fresher tires, but Matty looks to be struggling slightly coming through here, just running wide a bit. And Minty again, same situation with Minty and Ricky earlier. Minty just really wants to get past as soon as possible to be able to have a chance to hang on to Martin, but Matty, oh god, he ran wide and he's been slowed down slightly. Maybe slowed down intentionally to just not gain an advantage by running off the track. And now he's locked up, and now Matty, he's gone into the gravel. He's gone from bad to worse for Matty, and he's dropped down to 6th place. The race is all falling apart. He has been showing strong pace around here. He was in with a shout of you know, a podium a few laps ago, but now he's just thrown it away with a couple of mistakes. So that's very disappointing for him. And now I think we're down to a 4-way battle for the win here.
Yeah, definitely. Noble again, very close to the car, and this time just managed to get away with it and not lose too much time. But oh my gosh, I'm literally have my hands on my, I don't want to look, to be honest, as he comes towards 130R, because that car is just has a mind of its own, that ghost car, and just seems to want to destroy Noble's race. And Rosberg, it looks like he is the nearest challenger to Noble with, well, only a couple of laps to go. And well, Rosberg, who hasn't won in this league, because obviously this is his first season in the AOR F1 league, and obviously he joined late as well, so Rosberg is going to be very hungry for that first win, and he's all over the back of Noble, it looks like, in that Ferrari. And Limitless is very close indeed, and he's got +1 lap of fuel as well. Put it up into Rich, son. You need to push now, as he gets slightly sliding off that curb. I'm really surprised he's not in Rich right now. Noble is in Rich right now, as he's in optimal and pushing it to the limit, as that ghost car is not proving any trouble this lap anyway, as Rosberg is pretty much right behind him, as you can see. And Limitless has, well, he's down into optimal now, but he could still push that fuel a little bit more if he wanted to, and it's going to be very close. Will Rosberg get a run on Noble down towards turn 1 with that DRS? Let's have a look. Is he going to use any curves? I know Rosberg isn't a particularly forceful driver, and he's not going to go, and oh, Noble's actually putting him down into lean, so he's clearly a little bit concerned about his fuel. And Rosberg, no, did not have any kind of move into turn 1. Maybe he's saving his curves for the back straight, but Limitless is still within a chance of winning this race if he can get past Rosberg and then have a chance on the last lap to have a go at Noble. But he is running out of time. He needs to push right now. Put it into Rich. Just risk it. He has a little bit of a gap to Martin. That's what I would say anyway. But anyway, Noble still in the lead at the moment. and it's the penultimate lap of the race, and this is going to be so exciting that when we come down towards the straight with the massive slipstream that Rosberg I'm sure will get if he can stay within the sights of Noble, and Martin is actually pretty close too, so it is still a four-way train for the victory possibly. I'm thinking Martin is a little bit out of it, but wow, this is going to be a hectic last lap, Fizzy.
He certainly is. It's it looks like Martin has fallen a tiny bit off, but he's still not too far behind. So there's still 4 drivers in with a chance there, but Noble is still remaining ahead, and now we're back up to Rich just to make sure he defends his position down the back straight. Maybe Rosberg did save a bit of curse because he's certainly closing in the slipstream, and Noble has to go defensive here, defending into the chicane now. Can he make it stick? He can indeed. And now Rosberg, his final chance to pass with DRS down the main straight as Limitless slides slightly. Let's see ahead there if Rosberg can be close enough this time to go up the inside of Noble into turn 1. Noble's looking backwards, he's defending the inside line. Rosberg has to go to the outside. Noble has to just stick it on the curb and hope that it stays there, and he's done that beautifully to defend that position. Great defensive driving for Noble at the moment. He just has one more lap to go to defend his lead, and then he'll be oh god, I don't even know how many times he's won this season. Rosberg obviously really impressing in his 3rd race in this league, and Limitless still hanging on, and Martin not far behind either, so anything could still happen, Matt.
Anything could, and Rosberg is all over the back of Noble. It's the final lap of the Japanese Grand Prix. There is a lap car getting well out of the way of Noble. Noble's not going to have to deal with that. The only thing he's going to have to deal with is the ghost car, possibly, as Limitless slightly locks up and giving Martin a slight look. It looks like Limitless's chances of a top 2 finish is completely gone now, as he has completely lost touch with Rosberg, and we're now about to come towards Spoon. Rosberg is all over the back of Noble, coming into the last sector now. It's going to be so close. He's getting slightly onto the curb as Noble. He's going to have to get a great exit. He's got no curves to defend from Rosberg, and here we go down the last straight for the final time. Can Rosberg get past Noble before 130R, or is he going to wait for the final chicane? Here we go through 130R. Noble still in the lead, and here we go. There's Rosberg going to the outside. Can he make it stick into the chicane? Noble's locked up. He's gone straight on, and wow, is he going to get back past? Is Rosberg going to pass Noble towards the finish line? It's going to be so close, but it looks like Noble is going to take the victory. And wow, that could not have been any closer if it tried, I'm pretty sure, as Matty comes home in 6th, Ricky in 7th. But Noble, that's going to be the talking point, I think, is Noble locking up into the chicane. But, well, we'll see. We'll see what the stewards have to say, if anything. But the rest of the drivers are now finishing. Essie in 9th position, and Mazy coming home without any points, I'm afraid, as he's finished almost half a minute, apparently, behind Jason. I don't know how accurate that is, but his tyres are completely gone. But wow, that was a very, very hectic finish, and we might get a replay. Here we go. So this is Matty looking up to Minty on lap 24 and throwing away any chance of a podium, which was looking pretty good at that point as he had some nice tyres on him. But and this is Limitless locking up into the same corner on the final lap. But wow, Fizzy, what a finish.
Yeah, you couldn't have asked for a more interesting finish, I guess. Here we go into the final chicane. Noble just locks the inside tires, and it can't do anything but to just go straight. But he kind of backs off slightly to just negate the advantage. He doesn't really gain a time advantage by going across the curb there, but he obviously remains ahead. Rosberg has the better exit, but can't quite pull alongside before the line, and he'll obviously be frustrated with that. And Noble taking a win in slightly controversial manner. I don't think he really did anything wrong, because it was an honest mistake locking up into the chicane to, just about stay ahead for the win. And I think it's a close call, but I think he'll be fine with that one.
I think he will as well. As we can see, Noble does take the victory by 81 thousandths of a second from Rosberg. A brilliant drive from him in the Ferrari. Limitless throwing away the victory with those mistakes and getting the final place on the podium. Martin just missing out 1.3 seconds off the lead in 4th, with Minty only half a second behind the second Ferrari driver in 5th. Matty finishing 5.8 seconds off in 6th after a very interesting race for him, and not really showing much to really offer. So it's Ricky in 7th place, only 1.5 seconds off the Williams driver in the end, with Fisi coming home in 8th. after, well, what could have been really for the Red Bull driver after that being hit by Minty into the gravel at Degner 2. SE Racing Team finishing in 9th, with Jason 97 F1 taking the final points paying position this afternoon. Mazy and Trace are the 2 classified drivers that miss out on any points, with iProX Callum not finishing, and Randy as well, after he retired. I think he quit accidentally in qualifying, and the Continents was the only one not to start, as we still have 1 space left in the league. Limitless taking the fastest lap as well, showing that he really did have the pace to win today. And the Drivers' Championship, as you can see, Noble taking another step closer to his, well, 5th championship in a row, with Limitless extending his lead over Matty after he had a very disappointing race this afternoon, having, what's that, 46 points? No, 36 points ahead. No, 46 points ahead. I was struggling there. Of the Williams driver, and RickeeyC having a great season in 4th position, 19 points ahead of his teammate Randy McScrandy. And as you can see down the bottom of the table, well, Rosberg 10th now with 33 points, so he's moving himself away from the relegation zone. And Jason and Callum are the people that are the drivers that are looking most set to going down at the end of the season, with SE on the cusp. So he's going to have some good races in the next few that are coming up. And well, Mazy looking like he's looking, well, quite vulnerable as well, with 24 points, only 7 points clear of the relegation zone. And now the Constructors' Championship, Williams, well, they've pretty much secured it, with Toro Rosso looking very strong for 2nd place, with Limitless and Minty both having decent results. McLaren in 3rd position, with Ferrari the only people to move up a spot, with Red Bull losing a position and down into 5th place, with Caterham, Sauber and Force India wrapping up the rest of the Constructors' Championship. But Fisi, wow, the race, you know, Suzuka always promises great racing, and it didn't disappoint us this afternoon.
I certainly didn't, and you know, you can't really ask for a closer finish to a race, with the top 3 separated, well, actually the top 4 separated by less than 2 seconds, and you know, the top 6 was something like I think 8 seconds between them as well. So, you know, an incredible race, loads of action as you'd come to expect now from this league, and it's been an incredible journey to be able to commentate on it.
Yeah, so if you want to see the next chapter of this championship, then join us next week for the Indian Grand Prix, where Noble will be looking to take his 5th championship in a row. Will Limitless be able to stop him? Will there be a surprise winner? You'll have to find out next week. Thank you very much, Fisi, for commentating with me this afternoon.
Yep, it's been a pleasure, Matt, and thanks to you as well.
And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.